Okay, so we got probably the most important news that I've heard in the longest time. I did not believe this was going to be true, but I've heard rumors and it's actually true. Tom Holland is going to join with Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield in the last Spider-Man movie for Tom Holland, and I don't know what to say about this, man. I really don't. I don't know how to feel. I'm extremely fucking excited though. After watching The Mandalorian last week, everything is just so jaded right now because like everything, it feels like things are coming back to normal. I'm not going to say that right now with everything with the pandemic, everything like that, but it feels like things are normalizing a little bit even with this election going on. And I'm just happy that we're getting some awesome news for Marvel, at least, because this is probably the biggest news that Marvel will ever do. Like, Spider-Man is the home of Marvel. When Tom Holland contracts up, I don't know what they would do when it comes to Marvel. And this, I don't usually record at late at night, but this is insane. And with Marvel, what do we expect from this? I expect a Spider-Man 4. Let's just put that out there first of all, because with Spider-Man, with this Spider-Man 3, and when I'm talking about Spider-Man 4, I'm talking about Tobey Maguire Spider-Man 4. I really do feel like after this movie with Tom Holland, Tobey Maguire is going to get a Spider-Man 4, and hopefully he will actually agree with doing the role as Spider-Man again. See, the problem was because back in the day when he didn't, the reason why Spider-Man 4 didn't come out was because he disagreed and he didn't want to do it himself. And there was unknown reasons why he didn't want to do it. So hopefully with this movie coming out, hopefully with him, I don't know, whatever it is that he had problems with back in the day, we can just bring him back into the spotlight again so he can be Spider-Man once again. It's nothing wrong with being Spider-Man. That's probably like the biggest role you'll ever have in your life. Shoot, I wish I was Spider-Man. So with this movie coming out, I'm so fucking excited, dude. Like, words cannot express how awesome this is as a Spider-Man fan. Not just a Marvel fan or not just a comic book fan, but as a Spider-Man fan, because I grew up with Spider-Man. This is my most favorite character of all time besides Sonic the Hedgehog. And with this character having the biggest bang, even if it's Tom Holland, because if you've seen my other videos, you know that I kind of expressed how I did not like Tom Holland. At least I believe I did. And regardless, I did not like Tom Holland's Spider-Man. Don't get it twisted. I mean, the actor's fine, but with the way they directed Spider-Man, didn't care for that type of direction because of the way that him and Tony Stark was as like the type of uncle or father-son relationship throughout the story arc, and he was kind of like a sidekick, and I just didn't appreciate that. But with this movie, hopefully we can have some type of compensation with Tony Stark gone, unfortunately, and with the fact that all the Avengers, or most of the Avengers, are departed. Hopefully Spider-Man, Tom Holland's Spider-Man would get some spotlight, and I just believe that throughout all of this, at the end of the day, this Spider-Man movie is going to be the biggest Spider-Man movie ever. Spider-Man Far From Home was an amazing movie, and Spider-Man Homecoming was a decent movie. I really did not like Spider-Man Homecoming as much as Far From Home because of the slow pace, and it just felt slower to me. Far From Home had a lot more action-packed scenes. And I just really feel like they need to examine Tom Holland's character. If not, the second route that they could do is just like focus on Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield. And I forgot to talk about Andrew Garfield a lot because Andrew Garfield is really up in the air for me, because with Andrew Garfield, he had a lot of problems with his Spider-Man as well. But it wasn't his fault either. So like most of these characters or most of these actors like Andrew Garfield and Tom Holland, their problem isn't because of them. While ironically enough, Tobey Maguire had a lot of problems because of him, because he didn't want to play Spider-Man, which is unfortunate. But at the end of the day, we got all of these Spider-Mans coming out. doing one big old bang. And funnily enough, Spider-Man 3 with 3 Spider-Mans is kind of hilarious to me. So we're going to do some type of intergalactic or interdimensional Spider-Man type of warp ship. And the thing about it is, I already knew, I had a feeling this was coming too, because of the end of Spider-Man Far From Home with J. Jonah Jameson, with the actor of J. Jonah Jameson from Spider-Man, the Tobey Maguire movies, being into the Tom Holland Far From Home movie. But regardless, I do think that this is going to be an amazing movie, and I cannot express how high of like excitement, pure excitement, awesome. This is absolutely phenomenal, and this is just unequivocally the greatest thing I've ever seen in my life. And I just know, I know this is going to be amazing. And for anyone who is having a hard time trying to deal with whatever they got to deal with daily life shit, like, at least this movie's coming out. I don't know if it's going to come out in the theaters. This has to come out in the theaters though, because with everything's going on, this has to come out in the theaters. If this does not come out in the theaters, I feel like theaters are going to be dead officially, unless we bring back outdoor theaters, hopefully. But without like the experience of people around you reacting, it's almost like when you go to a theater, right? It feels like a reaction channel, like how you go to a reaction channel, like, you know, Tyrone Magnus or something like that. When you watch them react to a video of something that you know that you enjoy personally. So you're just like, hey, let's look at this reaction channel real quick, and then you just watch them have a genuine reaction. Now, not all of them are genuine, obviously, but we're not going to get into that. But the point is that when you're going into theaters, it's almost like watching a reaction channel, but you're actually reacting yourself as well as everybody else with the movie. And this is an amazing sentiment, because with Spider-Man is probably like the biggest thing that anyone could ever react to. If you really think about it, besides the Avengers, besides Marvel Cinematic Universe and all that stuff, Spider-Man is the only thing that's holding Marvel together right about now after Endgame. Let's just be honest here. With after Endgame, with Far From Home, that jump was probably the best thing they will ever have. Like, even with Black Widow, let's be honest here. Black Widow, the only reason why we like Black Widow is because it's Black Widow. But I think that personally, the movie is not going to be that great compared to Far From Home, because Far From Home was really an underrated movie. Like, that movie had probably the biggest action-packed Spider-Man scenes that I've ever seen since Spider-Man 2, and I feel like that personally, that it had even more action scenes than Spider-Man 2. Don't take it for granted. I love Spider-Man 2, but I'm just saying, like, in terms of action, in terms of what makes Spider-Man Spider-Man, and those awesome and awesome moments, like, Spider-Man Far From Home did it pretty well. So do not just watch the movie if you haven't seen it. So that is probably the end of my discussion, and I just feel like that with everything that's being placed by the end of the year, I expect the trailer around January or February for Spider-Man 3, and whatever is coming, I just can't wait, and I know you can't wait either. This is going to probably be like one of the most awesome hyped movies of 2021 or 2020. So let me know what you think. This is Kai Rose signing out, and peace.